Hello, my name is Ryder Searle, and this is my presentation on virtual reality for autism spectrum disorder. So, autism spectrum disorder, it is a developmental disability, and um, people who have autism usually have social, communication, and behavioral challenges. So it is a spectrum. So some people may be, very gifted, as in, Steve Jobs could have been on the spectrum, or maybe some other people who have done some pretty incredible things with technology or other things in the world may have been a little bit autistic, and then there's others who maybe be like nonverbal or more challenged. So yeah, autism spectrum disorder, it's quite the spectrum, and some common symptoms are um, they may avoid eye contact, they may have trouble relating to others and trouble understanding other people's feelings, and they may repeat actions over and over again. So I kind of came up with a step-by-step experience so like a virtual reality experience that will help a student with autism learn social skills. So kind of how it would work is that there would be a smartphone that is placed in a headset, um, and basically this would create this kind of virtual reality goggles, and then there'd be computer-generated content that will help the student learn how to communicate and interact in various social settings. So there could be different social settings created. So maybe he's on the street and there's some person on the street and they walk up to that person and learn how to start a conversation with that person. So this is just kind of developing those social skills, and then that person in the virtual reality will be programmed to say different things, and the student can basically work on how to communicate, how to start conversations, and kind of begin to develop social skills. And then an adult can provide monitoring, supervision, and coaching to support this skill development. So feedback and encouragement and things like that. And so the student would be kind of immersed in a visual and auditory world that fits the learning experience that they're having. So kind of a social setting, basically being able to talk to other people, and where some teacher can kind of provide feedback to the student. So some drawbacks for an experience like this is that it is virtual. So, it isn't a real life situation. And so, yeah, it can just, maybe they won't be able to transfer it to real life super well, or there's things in virtual experiences where it's not going to be exactly how it is in real life. In virtual experiences you can kind of predict what they're going to say, or maybe they're programmed to say certain things, but in real life anything could kind of happen. So that's one drawback. There's always functionality issues with software. With any program software, things can often go wrong, and when things go wrong, the student's learning activity is over until the tool is fixed. So, and that can also be quite expensive and very inconvenient. The student could become addicted to the virtual reality, just like kind of with video games, how students can get really addicted to that. Maybe they become addicted to the virtual reality because life is better, or interactions are better there, and they just kind of rely on that, and it kind of can become an addiction. And it can also be expensive in certain scenarios. So those are some drawbacks of using an experience like this. So I think it's very important when using virtual reality, there has to be kind of a plan set in place to help the student go from VR, the skills that they're learning in virtual reality, to an actual setting, to a real life scenario. So I think some ways to help a student realize this is to ensure that they know that it is just virtual reality and it's not going to be exactly how it will be in real life. So just so that they know that, and to ensure them that this is just for practice and for learning, and it's not exactly how it's going to be in real life. So I think what the teacher can do is have the student write down what he or she learned from the virtual reality experience, and have them kind of write those things down, jot them down, and then also how, the teacher can practice these social skills with the student in real life, kind of come up with mock scenarios in real life. Maybe the teacher starts talking with the student and, kind of walks them through how to have a conversation, how to start a conversation, and kind of how to make the conversation flow. And while doing this, the teacher can provide encouragement and feedback in real life situations with talking to actual people. And then the teacher can have the student reflect on what is different about VR and reality, and to kind of differentiate the two and to be able to learn from both situations. And then, of course, just like in any teaching, it's good not to just use one thing. So not to just use virtual reality, but use other forms of teaching and other strategies to learn the same skill, to learn those social skills. We got to use other forms of strategies. And yeah, so multiple modes of teaching there. Just some other information and kind of a self-reflection on virtual reality and how to use it in the classroom is that I think it is a great tool, and I think it is something that teachers need to utilize and to kind of look more into, because I think it can be an amazing immersive learning experience. The student is immersed in kind of a world where there's visuals, there's color, it's almost kind of like a mock of a real life situation where they can practice these skills. And so, yeah, I think it's a great kind of way to learn, because it's not just like learning from pencil and paper or drawings on a whiteboard or examples, something like that, but you're almost like immersed in it, and it can really help students remember, and it's super visual, so that's awesome. And I think it's also cool because it enables the creation of any surrounding. So you can kind of develop a software or program that kind of enables the student to work on various skills that you want them to work on. For my scenario, it was working on various social skills. So, you have different people to talk to and different, surrounding, like real life surroundings, maybe on the street or in a coffee shop or something like that. And so I think it can be an amazing tool for all students, and I think especially for students with disabilities, because they tend to learn better with different kind of teaching methods. They tend to learn better with visuals and being able to be immersed in it, because then they can actually like see it, they can feel it in a way, and they can just kind of learn from a very immersed learning experience of actually being in it, rather than just pencil and paper and more abstract ways of learning. And I also think it's a great idea. I think as we've talked about in other classes, the need for innovation in education is necessary, and we can't just lay to the old ways of technology and be like, no, we've always done it this way. Like, this is how we're doing it. We need to be innovative and be like, oh, like this could be a really cool tool that we can incorporate into education that can really help our students. So that is just kind of my idea with virtual reality and how it can help students with autism. And I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Here is a list of my references that I used. Thank you so much.